Not every day you get to see James Corden back on stage, especially not in company of another stellar actor which you might know from Line of Duty, Maxwell. The new play at the Old Vic called The Constituent brings these two amazing actors together to tell a story about politics, justice, humanity, and generally the state of affairs in the UK. This play is packed with interesting questions, unexpected turns, and lots of moments of laughter. But the key question here is, how did James Corden navigate his return to stage? And is this play worth the hype? Well, I'm gonna tell you everything that you need to know about it in this video. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. I'm Christina and I love going to theater, and this year I'm on a mission to see 52 shows, and this is where I document my journey, I share reviews, and if you want to follow along, then make sure to subscribe. So the first question is, what is The Constituent about? This is the world premiere of this play. On the very surface, it talks about two people who are trying their best to do what they think is right. But when you put this in the context where the play is set in, which is an MP and the constituent, it becomes a much broader story about the current state of affairs in the UK when it comes to the relationship that MPs have with their constituents, and also the dangers of how they can be exposed and ultimately life-threatened if this boundary is crossed. And unfortunately, over the past decade, there were a lot of instances where this boundary was crossed, and sometimes it resulted in fatal consequences for the MPs. And this is a broader story also about public servants, people who work as teachers, as doctors. Basically, how does UK take care of all these people, and at the same time, how does it protect democracy? Because if this relationship between MP and constituent is no longer safe for people involved, then what does that mean for the democracy? So it's a very UK heavy subject which people will definitely resonate with, especially if you live in the UK and know more about the internal politics and just generally how the state of affairs is at the moment. So let's talk about James Corden in the role of the constituent. This was my first time that I saw him on stage, and honestly I did not know what to expect. I know that he's a very charismatic personality, and the previous roles that I have seen him, it was always that humorous element to the role, but I think this role is very nuanced and it does fit him. The first time we meet him, he comes to install security equipment in the MP's office, and that's how we get introduced to his character. And James finds his feet in this role very easily from the get-go. You believe that he is this person that he's portraying. Throughout the story, we find out that James's character is an ex-serviceman, and there's a lot of PTSD and trauma that he's dealing with, and is maybe not supported in the best way, and he's going through a divorce. So all these layers of the character are really making this constituent a very complex character to play. But I think what James did so well is he approached it with a lot of humane qualities and made him such person that you feel like you know and you've met on the street, or you spoke to in your life, or you know someone in your life who is like this, which I think it was really nice witnessing and experiencing, because I think that he has really done a good job in this role. While James is in the title role of the constituent, I would argue that actually the role of the MP is where the majority of that heaviness in the play comes from, and this is brilliantly portrayed by Maxwell. If you've seen her in anything else and love her from other shows, I would say that this performance elevates her even more. She is a very kind, compassionate, and hardworking opposition backbencher. The story starts unfolding when Anna's character and James's character realize that they know each other from before, and they share a few conversations about their kind of personal history. And from that point onwards, you're witnessing these two characters dancing on the edge of personal and professional relationship. This is where all the questions in the play come from, and Maxwell in her role is so compassionate and so real, and you can truly see this character who is trying to be there for her constituent, trying to offer guidance as support and really change his life for the better. But at the same time, you can see the detriment this is taking on her mental health or her emotional well-being, and also how little she is understood. Throughout all of these changes that are so skillfully written in the play, Anna is fantastic in this role, so believable, so grounded. Also, like, the way that she portrays this character is so subtle, and you can truly feel all the emotions that she's going through, and also lack of understanding from the other people, and not knowing what the right way to proceed is, while knowing that in her heart this is the right way to do, because this is what her duty is telling her to do. The combination of these two actors on stage in these roles really complemented nicely. I would say the maybe natural characteristics of these characters characters, because Anna is very subtle, very stoic, very compassionate, and then James, as well as his character, has that playful element to him, but at the same time is also someone who struggled, and you can kind of feel the heaviness of both of these roles in a completely different ways. Zachary Hart is another member of the cast, and he's playing Parliamentary Protection Officer. He kind of represents the system in his role, and that cold-hearted approach to the role of an MP, where kind of for him is very much black or white in terms of how far she can go to help someone. And in the play, this triangle between all these different points of views is very well balanced with these actors. This is a one-act play, so it lasts about an hour and a half, and honestly when it ended I kind of thought that that's just gonna be the end of first act, and maybe that's one thing that I wish it was slightly different. I thought that the story had more potential to develop and more potential to actually dig deeper into all these questions that it arises. But when it comes to set and seating, it's really interesting because you can actually sit on the stage and be very close to the action. I feel like that they maybe push the stage a little bit forward so that they can accommodate people sitting on the stage. And in some ways it almost looked like Parliament a little bit, because you have stalls on one side and then you have other people on the other side. But also the set made it look like they are in some sort of a transparent box. It's almost like an experiment that people are witnessing. The set is pretty simple, and the whole play takes place in this MP's office. It is just different snippets of time, and you get the idea from their conversation how long has passed since. It is very stripped down with any particular costume changes or any kind of like sound or visual effects that would make you go wow. It's kind of made to be very believable and very simple and just a conversation between the two people, and I think the set delivers to that. I went to see this play during previews and it was completely sold out. A lot of people have come to see both of these actors because they are absolutely amazing, as well as Zachary Hart. Where the heaviness of this play lies is that it opens quite a lot of big questions, and I feel that people from the UK will resonate quite a lot with this play. But I would say if you are not from the UK and not understanding the political system in the UK that well, coming to see James Corden in this play might be quite challenging, because there are quite a lot of references to the system, to jokes, that unless you know UK culture pretty well, it might just be a little bit lost on you. That is one consideration when it comes to this play. As mentioned, this play is on at the Old Vic until mid-August. We'll see if it extends or if it transfers to West End. I found my ticket for £25 and I was in the Bailey Circle first row, so it was really good view. Nothing really obstructed it. There was one thin bar in front of me, but it was completely fine. I'm sure that these two names on the bill will definitely draw a lot of people to come see it, so if you want to go and check it out, then make sure to grab your ticket as soon as possible before mid-August. If you aren't sure what else to check out on the West End, then maybe this video will help you, where I'm talking about my favorite shows that you have to see before the end of the year.